Your next is your interrupt, which will basically you jab the target in the throat. Pretty awesome. You have to be in melee range. And if the target's facing you, they get silenced out of all schools. And if you do it from behind, not so much. Next is your movement speed stopper, or slower downer, which reduces the movement speed by 50%. And the duration of this disability will be refreshed if the target remains in 10 yards remains within 10 yards of the monk. And if it's already snared, the target will then be rooted for 8 seconds. Last but not least is Touch of Death, which can only be used on PvE targets, and it instantly kills them as long as their health is less than yours. Or equal to yours. Alright, so that covers those. As far as CC goes, we have Paralyze, which lasts for 30 seconds. You can glyph, or you can... If you do it from behind, the duration is doubled, okay. And you can only do it to one player at a time. Damage will cancel this effect. Next is your heal slash removal thing. Yeah. So Zen Spear is the talent that we picked up, which we've already read about. Next is Expel Harm, which instantly heals you for X amount and causes 100% of the amount healed to instantly be dealt to a nearby enemy as damage within 10 yards, and it generates 1 chi. So if you need chi, always use that. Next is Zen Spear, which places a spear on the ground. Oh, I guess this doesn't cost energy. Interesting. But it did. So it places a spear on the ground, allows you to run over it and get healed, or if other allies can run into it. As you can see. Except I have full health, so it's not working, which is good. It's good to know that they put that little extra thing into it so that it doesn't do that. Now, can you stack them on top of each other? You can. And then you can get a really big heal. That's cool. Alright. And then last but not least is Detox, which basically removes harmful effects such as poison and disease effects. I believe this is similar to what the Paladin has. Okay, so next we're going to go over what I call its utility, but it's also, in my opinion, ways to pool, which is always kind of cool. And a few of these are really neat. So you have your charging Oxwing. We've already went over that. But it can be an effective pool if you want the target to stay where it's at. Obviously, it won't work too well with boss types and anyone who's immune to stuns, but it's a way to pull. Dizzying Haze is also one way to pull, and it works kind of like this. You can get 3 stacks up on someone fairly easy, and then with the glyph you could stun them. This also allows it so that whenever they get close, they have a 9% chance to, well, 9% chance to smack themselves, apparently. Next is Grapple Weapon. Not so much a pull, but it is. I mean, it works as a pull, but you're probably going to want to use it at closer range so that they don't have their weapons. But it's cool nonetheless. It doesn't pull them to you. Did I say grapple pull? Grapple weapon, if I did. It doesn't pull them to you, but it does... remove their weapon from them, and they will probably come running at you. What I would call probably the main pull, that I would use at least as a Brewmaster, would be Crackling Jade Lightning. This is a channeled ability, and it generates 1 chi. Well, I 50% chance to generate 1 chi. And it's got 40-yard range, so it's pretty good to deal a little bit of damage to them while they're coming at you. Next is Clash, which I think is probably one of the more interesting pools that you could use. Oh, that's cool. So if you use Clash while going in, it'll stun everyone around them plus the target. That's cool. And then your Taunt, which is Provoke. And if you target your Jade statue, your Black Ox statue, it will do an AoE taunt. Pretty nifty. I like how they're implementing that. Alright, you got your res, of course. It's not a combat res, but you have a res. And last, I'm sorry that I've talked so long, we're going to go over these real quick. These are your cooldowns, of sorts at least, which include your Purifying Brew, which instantly purifies all stagger damage, which I will get over in just a second. Your Fortifying Brew, which turns your skin to stone and increases your health by 20%, and your stagger amount by an additional 20%, and reduces damage taken by 20%. Wow, and it lasts 20 seconds. That's a mouthful. Then you have your Elusive Brew, which is on a 45-second cooldown and increases your chance to dodge melee attacks and ranged attacks by 10%. Next is Avert Harm. You reduce the damage taken by all nearby friendly targets within 10 yards by 50% and cause half of all remaining damage they take to be redirected to you. And it's cancelled if you get below or at 10% health. Kind of a mixed bag of treats there. Next we're going to talk about your Guard, which costs 2 chi, has a 30-second cooldown, and you guard against future attacks, absorbing right now 33% of the damage taken by for 30 seconds. If you do any heals while you're guarding, it's increased by X amount, which is 32% currently. Zen Meditation reduces all damage taken by 99% and redirects to you all harmful spells cast against the party and raid members. Last 8 seconds. Being the victim of a melee attack will break or cancel meditation effect. So, I'm seeing this kind of being a boss is casting big ultimate attack. Well, it might kill you, possibly, if it's that big. But, yeah. If, say, you have 10 members in your raid, each of them would take 100k or more damage. You would take only 1% of that. So you would take 100k damage. You'd live through it. I see interest in that. And then last but not least, we have the Summon Black Ox statue. This summons a Black Ox statue. And if you right-click it, you cast Guard on yourself. Allies can also click it, or actually it's mainly for allies to click. And if you use your Provoke on it, it causes it to AoE pull, or AoE taunt to it. Interesting. Alright, let's talk about Stagger. Stagger is a very important ability that you should know about. Ignoring some of the other things, although some of them are interesting, which is Gift of the Ox, you have a 1% chance that when you do melee damage, you'll summon a healing spear. Nifty. That's not important. That's normal. Oh, yeah. Wow, sorry. So your mastery is Elusive Brewer, which increases your parry chance by 6% and your stagger chance by an additional 6%. Affected by, of course, mastery. And I'm actually trying to find stagger, and it's not on here. Alright, so what stagger basically is that instead of taking the full brunt of damage, you stagger it so that it takes damage over time. Now this varies depending on how much damage you take. For example, I ran through and attempted to solo a level 85 instance, or excuse me, level 80 instance, and the mobs were causing light stagger, which did about 200 damage. The bosses, however, were putting me into a mild / heavy stagger, which dealt a lot more, and they just freaking ate me away. But needless to say, that's how it works. Well, so let's actually pull something and demonstrate this a little bit better. So let's see, what all were we doing? Well, let's drop this. Let's do this. Come on. Come on. And let's demonstrate Clash. There's Clash. Pretty cool. Here's a little ox for you. Oh yeah, get you some of that little Jade Lightning. I think I might be able to just completely kite a mob. That's interesting. So I'm not getting stacks of that. Maybe you're not supposed to normally. Let's run by that. Roll. He now has less health than me. Wait, no he doesn't. That's weird. So I guess I should actually let him damage me so that we can see stagger. Come on. No? Oh, there we go. It's not killing. Stagger. Pops up with a pretty little green thing. I'm in a light stagger dealing 196 damage every second. Let's turn my back to him. Let's let him do some actual damage. Come on, you can do it, buddy. Do I need to pull another guy? See, that doesn't work on him, but that does. So 2 guys. Let's turn our back. Let's see if we can get some stagger up here. Not particularly. I don't see anything else nearby. Come on, my back's turned. Do some damage. Oh, we're up to 500, 600. Okay, there we go. We're getting there. Okay, well, let's face it. I'm going to wind up dying before they can get me in enough stagger to do anything. So let's go ahead and just do this. Let's get a little punch off. A little fire breath action. Let's throw a keg. Let's do that. Let's do some expel harm to heal myself. Let's drop a Zen spear on my head. So yeah, you can see how easy that is. And that was the Chi Spear. Zen Spear healing me for quite a bit of healing. So that's basically the summing up of the class. Of course, there's this ability, which I don't have, so I can't really show off. Other than that, everything else is pretty much just nifty-pifty. You do have a counter-strike ability, which whenever you parry attack, you reflexively strike back at the enemy for X amount of damage. This is something I think all parry should have. This would make parry more interesting. Do it, Blizzard. Oh wow, I apologize for that. It came out of nowhere. Oh! Did not notice this. Brewmaster training. You become more adept in the ways of Brewmaster, amplifying 2 of your spells. Fortifying Brew increases your stagger amount by 20% while active. When you deal damage with your Tiger Palm, the amount of your next guard is increased by 5% for 30 seconds. Stacks up to 3 times. Blackout Kick. After you Blackout Kick, you gain Shuffle, increasing your parry chance by 30% and your stagger amount by an additional 20% for 6 seconds. That's pretty important. I guess I should also go over this. Oh, there it is. Wow. There's your stagger. I'm an idiot. Alright. Stance of the Sturdy Ox. Reduces damage taken by 20%, increases energy regeneration by 30%, reduces the chance to be critically hit by 6%, and increases your total health by 30% and allows you to stagger damage. Stagger. You shrug off attacks, causing 70% of the damage to happen instantly, and the remaining 30% to be divided over 10 seconds. Okay. So that's what it means. Why does it say I still have 2 spears active? Confused. Okay, anyway. So there's stagger. Okay. That makes a bit more sense than what I was saying. But hey, this is a Paladin's guide to this, so I'm allowed to be an idiot when it comes to it. Anyway, summing this up, Brewmaster's pretty damn awesome. I'd like to thank you for watching and encourage you to have a wonderful day or night or whatever it is you're having.